I've had the privilege of interviewing both of these people on camera before, with Mr. Kalra in very trying circumstances when both he himself and his team of engineers, coders were doing yeoman service. I think sometimes a book needs to be written how you guys came up with the apps that helped us get our jabs and our testing done. I think that's one for the history books. For those of you who don't know, watch the NewsX interview. It dates back 2 years ago. We are here to discuss startups. And I know this has become cliched, right? Everybody discusses startups because that's the buzzword. But there's some basic facts that as a curiosity. I'm sitting with an author and business journalist who's a curious person by nature, and somebody who did a startup at a very interesting time. Make My Trip was founded, I think, 99, 2000, if I'm...
2000.
Yeah, 2000. And this is just at the cusp of the dot-com bubble bursting. And bringing a conceptualization, which I'm sure pretty much most of you here probably have the app on your phones. So let's get some perspective, especially for a young audience who's watching this on television across the board. Deep Kalra, let me start with you. In a world of startups, what is the best way to go about it? Should you come out of college, go to a B school, come up with an idea, some say even drop out of B school, doesn't make a difference. Come up with an idea, raise funding and go for it. Or should you go and gain experience so that you know how to convert a startup into a company?
Thank you, Rishabh, and lovely to be here. So firstly, I don't think there's one set formula. The best entrepreneurs in the world actually didn't even finish college. They had enough conviction in their idea, they had enough confidence in their abilities, and they actually either didn't go to college, dropped out of college, and they said, we are quite clear the kind of company, the kind of product we want to build, and we're going to do it. I think people who are less skilled and less confident either go through college for that reason, or entrepreneurship, at least in my case, I have to be honest, I didn't think of turning entrepreneur through college. I came from a service cars background. I went through college. I was very clear I want to do an MBA and I want to get a job. And this happened to me. It wouldn't have happened if the internet didn't happen. So quite frankly, for me, the cause of doing my own thing was the internet, which was happening.
But Deep, you got made, right? CAT, IIM Ahmedabad, banking, finance, sectors that you know are going to do well. So you got a life made, right? Life is set. Then to say, no, I want to give this up and do something different. But when does that itch come?
So, and the opportunity cost is the key point, right?
Yeah.
So there's always an opportunity cost, and I think there are two kinds of entrepreneurs. One, who have a high opportunity cost, then it's tougher. Sometimes they become golden cages. They're very good jobs. I was working with GE Capital as a vice president. Wasn't easy to quit. But then the drive has to be enough. The second kind of where there is no other option, where you're meant to be an entrepreneur, or you don't want to go through the study route, or you don't want to go through college for various reasons. In my case, I felt, Rishabh, in '99, I was working in GE, the force of the internet, and I don't know how many people out here, the older people will remember, younger won't, dial-up modem, 128 kbps, funny sounds, dial-up.
I've got enough white hair to remember it, yes.
Despite that, I felt this is going to change our lives forever. Everything that we are doing. And that gave me the conviction that kuch karna hai. I did try within GE. So the first thing is you take it to your boss, you take it to my super boss then was Pramod Bhasin, who now is a dear friend, and I convinced him, and he actually gave us $1 million to set up geindia.com. But the reality is it became a weekend project. So we got an hour of his attention maybe every weekend. But if you want something to start, and the word startup means taking it from 0 upwards, and 0 to 1 is the toughest phase. That is inertia, right? So to push something and to make something from 0 to 1 is tough. By definition, it can only be done if you give 110%, if that's possible, of your time, effort, mind space, everything. So you need the passion. So it's not going to happen if it's a side thing. If it's not your raison d'etre, I don't think you can do anything. I think, Karthik probably set up this channel, and all of you probably couldn't have built it if he said, okay, yeah, it's a side thing. It's a side gig.
Yeah.
It can't be a side gig.
You have to live it and breathe it.
So it's got to be your everything.
No doubt about it. Okay, Pranjal Sharma, you're coming up with a new book, The New Next. Now, we were discussing right before we got on stage, right? So one would think that the startup ecosystem is the best right now. This is the time to get out there and be entrepreneurial, because even if the person is starting a business, 10, 15 years ago, starting a business was saying, oh, that's a dande wala. The people go for professions. Is it easier in the indexes? How is the environment and the ecosystem different from now than what it was when Deep was starting up Make My Trip?
I think there are several things which are very good, and I think Deep was a vanguard of pioneers who led the entrepreneurial shift. I think what has changed are 2-3 things. First, social mindset towards entrepreneurs is far more accepting, and there's deep respect. Second, government, which used to be very hesitant to engage with young entrepreneurs, there is a shift, deep shift in mindset. And again, 2 decades, it's taken about 2 decades for us to reach where we are. And I think third is the corporate ecosystem, which is now far more flexible about working with smaller companies. Remember, smaller companies, it could be a person who comes with a network of connections, or it could be a person who comes with ideas, but perhaps not a network and definitely not an idea of how to run a business. So these things have really improved. So it's so much more easier. But while entrepreneurs like Deep had challenges of riding the first days of internet with all its concomitant challenges, today the challenges are of a completely different nature. One, the competitive landscape. Today, if you want to launch a travel-based solution, you have to see where the gaps are. Right? So today but I think...
Where the gaps are, where the copycats are.
But let me just say that many research and studies have showed that those who come today with experience of having worked in an organization tend to be more successful than those just with bright minds and bright ideas, but without the hands and feet to make it work.
I know there's no one formula, but you're told Zuckerberg drops out of an Ivy League to start Facebook. That's the dream. But then we're saying that, that's maybe 1 in a million dream. For everybody else, you have to know the pitfalls of business. Maybe you have to build your contact base to get it started. So what's the formula? What do we tell young kids going to IIM Ahmedabad?
I think you have to tell them that today you have to be very clear about where you want to be. You cannot come with a general idea that I want to be in the travel space and I'll figure out something as I go along. That's not going to work. Second, there is a big shift happening today. We are actually at the beginning of a new internet kind of moment where generative AI is going to completely demolish the business models that exist today. And that's part of what my book, The Next New, talks about. At the cusp of the shift that we are in right now means that last 20 years of experience and business models will not have relevance for the next 20 years.
Still trying to figure out generative AI.
I want to take a crack at that.
Crack it, because at what point of time is Make My Trip just predicting where I'll go and automatically booking my tickets and letting me know?
Actually, I want to answer your original question.
Yeah.
If you're a techie today and you're very confident of your technical skills and you have a solution that you can build, you've already started. Normally, you started building it in your last year of college.
Right.
Go ahead, launch your company, learn along the way. We all learn more through osmosis than we learn in college.
Yeah.
The challenge will come when you want to scale up. Attracting talent, building cadres and all, job experience really helps. But if you come from a management point of view, generalistic skills, finance, marketing, etc., but you're not the coder, not the techie, and I'm talking about tech businesses, then I think you should work a bit. Whether that bit is 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, I don't know. But Pranjal's absolutely right. When you go ahead, you can't come in with this, airy-fairy notion of, kuch karna hai space mein, kuch karte hain. No. It has to be a very sharp idea. It has to be a problem solver, and you have to be very confident I will do this better than anyone, not in India, in the world today.
So are you supposed to lie awake at night thinking of ideas? It is supposed to come clicking to you when you're walking on the street? How does it happen?
Yes. If you are not woken up in the middle of the night, if you can't sleep, and if it doesn't come in your dreams, you don't have to take down points at night. If you're not obsessed with an idea, then you're not ready.
I'm sure it was a straight line, right? Were you tempted, maybe with family saying, you'll get this job, you'll make partner in so many years. Why go through all this hassle? Was there that temptation even after starting? Was it ever there?
So luckily I was 30 then. You can take a lot bigger risks at 30 than you can take obviously at 40, etc. I think the trick is to use those degrees, which if you have a nice degree, to use it as insurance and not use it as a nose. So a lot of people use it as a nose. Because I'm from here, therefore I better
Therefore,
take
I
the
should be
path.
earning this,
I
and if
should
my
be,
startup
because
is not
people-
even earning a profit, then
and
what's the
it's
point?
deferred gratification, right? People around you are doing really well. They're doing fantastically. You can get stuck in that trap, or you can say, yeah, this is what I love doing.
Okay, so Pranjal, tell us about then what is the next new for a young generation out there, and we are coming in the hundreds of millions. You can feel a buzz in the Indian economy. There's something special happening. I can see the difference when I get out. The other day I was leaving my house, and I must have driven 150 kilometers before I hit the first red light. You were just going around in circles and flyovers. It's remarkable because I've grown up in India in the 90s to know that there was a traffic light every few hundred meters. So what is the new next and the next new?
So let's put it this way, that today, if you are graduating or you want to exit your professional career to become an entrepreneur, step back first and look at the areas which have just opened up. Look at the sectors which are underserved or where there is not enough activity happening. Space tech. We are talking today after Chandrayaan was successful. We have 126 space tech entrepreneurs already, startups. Could you have imagined that space tech, which was the most secure, controlled, closed sector in the world, would have more than 100 young people from college and from scientific background working with ISRO and the government, right? So that's a point of which I said earlier.
Building rocket ships. Yeah,
absolutely.
building
So
rocket
that's
ships,
brilliant. So that's an example of that. Secondly, let's look at infrastructure. You talk about roads and ports. Now, smart roads and highways are the need of the hour. How to improve highway safety, how to use connected driving. Right now, that's an opportunity.
Okay, I'm going to
which
ask
is
you the
waiting
tough
for
one.
that.
Do you have to be a coder? Is that it? Can
Today,
you be the
actually,
guy
no.
with the
That's a
idea
great
and get
question,
to find the
Rishabh.
coder?
That's a great question. Today, you don't have to be a coder, and the conversation today is that you don't have to you don't have to code, but you need to be knowing what kind of questions to ask. You will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody who knows AI better than you.
Okay, business skills are still important, Deep Kalra, or is it in the room the coder wins because that's the backbone of the company and the rest of the people
By
don't
the way, Rishabh, Deep, coding is getting automated. There's something called robotic process
I was about to
automation.
come to that, but okay, let's take that.
Coding as a
For
role
non-coders,
is also going out.
brilliant.
Let's talk about non-coders. And I think management skills help you through life, especially as you scale up your company. But today, we will talk about large language models, AI, and that's absolutely the game changer. But for many people, that's Greek, right? You're saying I'm barely grappling with 2.0 and 3.0. Now you're talking about this. What about solid, good old business models where you make a good product, you probably make it in a factory, maybe you outsource it, you know about packaging, you're solving a customer need. The beauty today is you can do D2C. Direct to consumer has changed the game. Gone are the days where you need to have distribution outlets. I'll give you a great example. Today morning I was talking to an investor who was talking about this company, and I don't know them, so full disclaimer, but I like their products. Mokobara. They make...
Yeah, I have the bag and most
they
of my
make
colleagues
luggage, right? And they make different kind of bags. And they're already at 100 crore annual run rate. I asked the investor, what about them? And he says, travel, luggage should make a lot of sense, and they're completely upturning the whole model on its head, where people said you have to go through distribution. They have some stores apparently in Bangalore, but largely D2C.
So this is again. When we are saying is disruptor per se somebody who's an aggregator, somebody who comes in the middle, or is a disruptor still taking old businesses and just redesigning them and coming up with the new?
It's a scale, right? So it's not binary. There are stages. It's a good scale. You can look at it. A disruptor is someone who looks at what is going on today. Is there a smarter way of doing the same thing that adds value both to consumer and to supplier to the overall ecosystem, and then goes ahead and builds that.
Let me give you an example, Rishabh, on what Deep said. So quick example. You asked me what is next new. The book talks about a $25 trillion shift in business models. Let me give you a short example. All of us remember going to a doctor's office, to a clinic and a lab to check your body parameters. Loads of instruments are kept over there. Today, your watch has all that ability, correct?
Yeah, but that stresses me out. My watch tells me I'm at 100% stress all the time.
No, but that's not the point.
So I took off the watch and wear a normal one.
Point is, the companies which have spent decades and billions of dollars to make those instruments, that business is winning. And the competition for those, the instrument makers has come from app makers. So your competition can come from an area which is completely out of your sector. This is the next new.
Okay. Yeah.
Cameras and phones. I mean, phones have made most cameras redundant, right?
So you're that thing, but is it? Can we see something that's for sure? So we're seeing AI, but the problem that I have with AI is that because it's not cent%, I can't trust it. And I can't trust it, I can't use it because in my profession, it has to be cent% because you get called out by name that you are the person who messed it up. So that's the problem. I eventually get cent%. So what is the opportunity in AI? What am I? Am I the language model creator? Am I the beneficiary as being the first mover who understands it and is therefore able to apply it? What is the opportunity in AI?
The opportunities are tremendous. You mentioned a great point. Cybersecurity, for example, is a fantastic horizon to explore. Cybersecurity in everything, in literally every action we do, data protection in nearly everything that we do. These are the opportunities where young entrepreneurs should be looking
what
at.
happens when next year I don't invite the two of you and just have your deep fakes? What happens then? Then what's the law then?
It's funny you say that. This morning we're doing a conference in Bangalore and Delhi. Delhi tomorrow, it's the TI, it's a not-for-profit called the Indus Entrepreneurs, so no competition. My welcome address I just heard from people was a digital avatar. And the whole script was done by AI.
Yeah.
So, and that's what was played out there. So in Bangalore. So it is a little scary, it's a little unnerving, but a lot of opportunities irrespective of what we do. In media, in your line of business, I think AI can help us create better ads and serve better ads, which means on a real-time basis, rather than waiting for the research to come out, who all saw that ad, who all acted on that ad, the click. Now on a real-time basis, you already can fine-tune your ad and your message.
Okay, last thought, Pranjal. Going forward, what's the one thing that a young entrepreneur must do?
An Indian entrepreneur must
Yes, right here, sitting in these 300-400 million of us younger than me.
I think identify the exciting new areas from cybersecurity to highways to space tech to drones in agri-tech, for example. We talk of winter funding. Agri-tech has not faced winter funding at all. Identify the areas which are going fantastic and they have the highest growth margin. Jump into those. Okay, so you want to figure it out, pick up Pranjal's book, and more importantly, get your coupon codes for Make My Trip, catch Deep in the atrium outside. Thank you so much, guys. A pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.